Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Paige Show. So I'm sure we all have heard about the law of attraction. It's been around for a few decades now. It was a really big hyped up thing when the book came out, The Secret, and all really great tools still. I love to talk about manifestation, which is another way of talking about the law of attraction. But today I want to talk about the law of opposite. There are many cultural, religious followings or belief systems that will talk about the law of the opposites or the law of opposites. And that is what really changed my world. Maybe it's just the way that my brain works. Despite all the spirit work that I do, there are some things, like many of you, that I still get stuck on. Manifestation, period, was one that I really got stuck on. In the beginning of my path, one of my mentors, she has many wonderful abilities, but one of the things that she really loved to teach was manifestation. And it was something that I at first wasn't drawn to. And now, in understanding my soul contract more, and the more I've evolved down my path, I could see that it was a resistance I had from many other past lives and things that are coming back to memory in this life. And so I really saw that as a sign when I talk about some of your shadow pieces you have to really run into and embrace. That was my manifestation, understanding that we all have that ability inside, some stronger than others, like every other ability to manifest things in our life or not. Some of us, we are incredible manifestors, and we don't see that because what we actually are doing is we're manifesting all of the opposite things in our life. And that was where it came into an aha moment for me, as I was always a great manifester, even though I had doubts about it working, because I saw it as you ask for something and you shall receive. The, old foundational Bible teachings always were in my mind, saying, well, I don't think manifestation works if you're asking for something and you don't receive it, right? But as we evolve, we understand a lot of these things are meant for more of a spiritual, intangible type of lesson, not a real physical reality, or we all be manifesting the lottery or world peace or all of the things that we probably desire or want on a daily basis. So the law of opposite really spoke more to my understanding, and I was able to really run with this idea of why we're not getting what we really want in our journey. And is it something that we really want? It really allowed you to tap into that. And so the law of opposite is very simple in the terms of, the word opposite. The law of attraction being, what do you want to attract? And the law of opposite, what do you not want in your life? So what is the opposite of what you want? And they really work hand in hand, like all energy does, a very yin-yang, ebb and flow type of concept, because depending on how it speaks to you, maybe you work better from the law of attraction, and I work better clearly from the law of opposite. So my brain works better to say, all right, this is something I don't want. And so what do I do want? It allows me to actually see what I want. Another hang up with the law of attraction is that we often think that what we're trying to attract or manifest is what we really want. Maybe it's not what your soul really wants. And that's the difference. That's the hang up. We forget in our asking that we're not getting things just because we're asking, because maybe our physical mind says we want that. It's all about the soul. Your soul is the driver of the car. I've done a lot of episodes about that. And so instead of thinking manifestation isn't working in your life, just start to switch and say, maybe this is not what I really want, and I need my soul to guide me on what I really want. And a great way of doing that is working from the opposite direction. So the law of opposite, saying if this feels really bad, if this situation was really hard, I felt like this was going to kill me, I just, oh my gosh, can't pray enough to get out of this anymore. I know now this is not what I want, and it opens the door up to, what do you want? that maybe you couldn't have identified unless you were faced with the opposite of what the opposite feels like. All right. So it's a lot about that the grass is greener concept. You think the grass is greener with a relationship or a job or whatever. And then you get to the next one and you're like, oh my God, this is like the same or worse. And then you're just thinking, it doesn't work. None of this attraction stuff works. All of this energy stuff is crap. And you start to doubt the whole idea of everything, right? Your mind can really take you down those paths. Trust me, I am speaking from experience, and I have a lot of tools in my toolbox, and I still do it because I'm human like you. But I realized the law of opposites helped me because it stops me in my track when something really is hard in my life. I can say, this is what I'm supposed to pay attention to. This is the opposite of what I want to feel like. And I can start to envision, how do I really want to feel then? What from this particular thing do I not like? Maybe it's that I don't need a new relationship or a new job, but I need a new shift in this or that about it. Maybe it's just one piece of the whole that you need the opposite of, or the attraction of something better of. And it's not the whole thing that you throw out, right? And so the law of opposites, I feel like, really opens up your mind more to what you really need or want, so that you can be attracting the right things. And so a really great example is just how the world feels right now. All of us in some way are struggling, whether we're verbalizing it or not. We have anger about something or sadness. Everything is on the rise. Violence. I mean, if you look at the news, which I always totally will tell you and encourage you not to do on this show, I talk about how that really takes a toll on you energetically. But the fact is that, that's where a lot of people go to see what's happening in the world. And if you look at that, you can see on a bigger scale that a perception could be that we're just going downhill really fast. Things, have always been challenging since the start of mankind. Either we needed to figure out fire, or now we need to put out fires. Like, there's always extremes, but it feels like this is different. And I talk about on a lot of episodes the shift or the age of change. We've had many of those throughout humanity's existence. Okay. But I wasn't around technically for those, but my soul was. And a lot of you out there, your soul was as well. And so our soul has a memory of something that makes this feel different, this shift or age of change feel different than any other one that we've been in, that we've physically experienced so far, or that our soul has experienced so far. And the reason for that is because it's different. And, religion is saying it in different ways. A sermon on Sunday will talk about it in a different way, the end of time. There have been lots of times where people have talked about the end of time, and we haven't really seen that in the physical, so we don't hear the words that are really trying to be shared, but it's an end of a time. It's a shift, an age of change that we're in on a deeper level than ever before. And it really came to me that this opposite, law of opposite and law of attraction and how they work together really is about how far you have to go in to the opposite of what you want to be able to be propelled into the beauty of what you do want. And we can do it on our personal level story, or we can think of it, equate it to humanity and what's happening in the world right now. Everything that seems to be getting heavier and darker and violent and, a lower or heavier energy or vibration. It feels like we're going that way, the opposite direction of what we need to do. When we sit here as light workers, or people who don't even talk about it but just have a sense an empathic feeling that this is not where we're supposed to be going. You just feel it going backwards from what you want. You think about I see myself often like a symbolism of humanity. We're falling down this well, and our hands, like in the movies, are reaching up for somebody to grab us and save us, and it feels like we just keep falling deeper into the darkness. I'm a huge visual person, but I think when you hear those words, that can speak to you. But in the past, I saw that as, we have to change this. We have to do something about this. And everything in my soul was crying out, like, there's just not enough of us to make the change. Like, how do we change from something so drastic that's occurring in front of us and just getting what appears to be worse daily? And the law of opposite was the greatest gift I've had so far in this most recent experience in my journey, because Spirit really showed me that we have to fall deeper into the darkness per se, or the things that we don't want, so that we know exactly what it is that we do want to take into this new shift and age of change. So the hang up is through all the centuries and the time of humanity where we've talked about the end of time, or different changes. You can think about all of the different things you could learn in history about how we have evolved as humanity. When we think about that, and we thought on a very superficial level, it's not going to happen because we've talked about it, or saw it before, or prophesied about it before, and it didn't happen, so it's just not real. The real hang up there is that it has been happening all along. And the further that we go in what appears to be the opposite direction is what's allowing us to see what we're really going to take into this new change, into this new shift of consciousness. It's a huge shift of consciousness. I cannot say that word enough. And when you think about that, that's all energetic. The difference with this age of change is it feels like our bodies are having to go with it. The earth is rebelling and having to go with it. It's finally, like Spirit said, I've let you play enough. And now it's time to really, truly get to work. And because you're not really prepared for the test, because you've been a little lazy with it, or whatever word you want to say throughout the years, and we've kind of let you just hang out, now you're on a crash course lesson. And so the energy is all ramped up, and not all the energy is good. The emotional states of people, and us hurting each other and hurting our environment, and all of the things, right? I can't possibly list them all at once, but think about what in your life really bothers you, and say, hey, that needs to be added to this bucket. So all of those things are just getting amped up and ramped up, so that we really, really know for this moment in a time where we're saying there's an age of change, that there's really going to be one. And that we can make the change because we know what to bring into it, and we know what we're going to truly shed once and for all. So if you look at the world right now and you get discouraged, like often I do, there's plenty of times where I say, oh my gosh, one more situation like that and I'm going to lose my faith in humanity. It doesn't mean that I will, but it's me verbalizing how that's affecting me on a soul level. Like I mourn for humanity and the earth and all of these things on a deeper level. And a lot of us are meaning that when we verbalize it in a different way. We're feeling all of those things. And so what it's really saying is that we're going to go the opposite direction even further for a little while longer, so that Spirit can, be ensured that we got it, right? We got it right this time. We are going to experience the opposite of what we want to such a deep level, energetically and physically, that there's no question anymore about what we do want, that we will take into this age of change, into this higher state of consciousness. And we just have to trust that. We have to watch it unfold and do the best that we can in our personal life to contribute to that in whatever way that we feel called, and protect our energy in the best way that we can, if it is something as simple as not always watching the news, right? Another really great thing that I encourage you all to do is if you listen to my show, I talk about us having to connect to Source daily. That's really, really important just for your own ability to function in life, but also to raise that consciousness, that ability to see beyond the unseen of what's going on in the world around you and your own story. And so as we do all of that, things just get higher and higher, and collectively the goal is that we can arrive right at what we're wanting to achieve and attract in our life. And so we just keep doing it and we just keep trusting is the key. And as you do those practices, think about sending out that same energy and love to the earth around you, to the other realms around you, whatever your beliefs will allow you to do at this point. Take some of that energy that you put into your own life and your own wishes or attractions that you want for your story, and put that out into the earth some too. You know, you see that bottle on the beach that somebody left over, pick it up, right? Do something simple, recycle. You know, there are really basic things that a lot of people don't do, that we just don't think about. And so those really small changes, one at a time, can also help lessen this load that we feel like we're all carrying, okay? We're all carrying it in different ways, but we are all carrying it because we're all connected. We're all humanity, despite how we want to separate ourselves from the good and the bad and the titles, and et cetera, right? So that's what this was about today, is just talking about how oftentimes we have to go deeper into the opposite of what we want to become aware of what we really do want. And in doing that, you can really truly live in the law of attraction and start